Dr. Kit, you know how it is. It is a Monday. If you ever want to know what day it is, just tune in to me on any day of the week, and you will find me Monday. All right, it's going to be Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. I just want to welcome you. You know how it is. It's the shake up. In life, it's easy for us to get settled in relationships. And once you get settled in relationships, a lot of the good ingredients in your relationship, it's got this, got the ability to kind of settle down. You settle down and you start treating each other like you shouldn't treat each other. Well, that's why we have the shake up. So we can shake things up, make some movements, and get things back on track. Okay, so I just want to welcome you again. Listen, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of talking here, but just to say thank you for just being with us over a year now. I think we started out in April of 23. So we're just a little bit over a year, and we've got quite a good, healthy following, and we want to thank you for that. All right, so we want you to continue doing that. So here's how you do that for us. You just like, follow, share, and subscribe. Like, follow, share, and subscribe. And I'm not going to be selfish. This is the way all podcasts survive. So whoever your favorite podcaster is, okay, just get out there and like, follow, share, subscribe, because other podcasters have some amazing things that you need to listen to and to follow. Okay, so for a whole bunch of us, why? We have a diverse amount of quality of information. That's good. And if you'd ever like to be on the show, if you want to be considered to be on the show, here's what you do. You email drkitspeaks@gmail.com. Okay, that's drkitspeaks@gmail.com to be considered. A team will get you on. Will contact you and get you on there in a quick moment. You can be on camera. You can be off camera. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. We want you to be on and just doing what you do with us. All right. Hey, listen, I got something for you. You see the sign behind me? It says the fear of failure is the enemy of success. Well, now we have it on the shirt. Let me move it back. Yeah, see that? The fear of failure is the enemy of success. You can get your own T-shirt. Okay, Dr. Kit shop. Dr. Kit speaks at .com//shop. Okay, drkitspeaks.com/shop. You can go on there and get this and other paraphernalias we have on there. The fear of failure is the enemy of success. All right, and for a time, 37 off, limited time only. So get on there, shake up 37. You get 37% off for a limited time only. A great shirt, good for you and good for your family and good for giving a gift to some friends. All right, and so this evening we have a excuse me. We have a wonderful young lady here, and I met her back earlier on this year at a conference in Birmingham, Alabama, the Big Ham. We met her down there, and she did her thing down there. She really did. So I decided, listen, if I want to look good on any one of my shows, I need to get this young woman on here with me, and she consented to come on with me, man. I didn't have to break her arm. She was really good. She had mercy on me. She said, okay, I'll come rescue you on your show. Okay. So here she is. And she's got a really good some good content for us today. Look at her. Just look at her. Don't she look good? She makes me look good.
I can't.
Welcome.
You would never. I would.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. Listen, by now, and when you saw me when we met in Birmingham, I'm crazy, so it's okay. Don't expect.
You are not crazy. I love your energy, and it's so pure. Absolutely love it. I see that you had Keisha on recently and talking about those beans in that can again.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Listen, Vassier, I want to welcome you. I don't want to take up too much of your time talking about. They came to hear you this evening, so go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you want to tell us, and then you're going to tell us what you really came for. Okay, so go
All
ahead.
right. Well, I am Vassier Serrano. I'm an Atlanta radio personality with the Radio One. Classix 1029 is my station. So we do classic R&B, you know, the way music used to be.
Used to
And
be. Hey.
I'm there Saturday and Sunday from 10 until 3 on air, just doing my thing, giving you your favorite memories, your favorite jams from Atlanta to wherever you want to hear it. Because yes, we do have an app too, Classix 1029. So you can listen to us all over the world.
Okay.
But besides that, I do work corporately as well. I won't get into what I do corporately, but I'm a hustler, baby. You met me as the moderator for the Black Men's Mental Health Conference.
Yes, we did.
Just Us MH Foundation. And you were on that particular, where you weren't on the panel, you were our speaker for that event. And it was powerful. And just, I am honored to be a part of that this year. I'm hopeful to be a part of it next year as the moderator as well, traveling. Because it's such an impactful environment to see our men get the opportunity to be so transparent. So I'm just wanting the number to be blessed in that environment. So I'm so excited that I got the opportunity to meet you because I've been watching your work on television. Listen, I was so encouraged that after my divorce, I did reality television for one show. TV One's Asking for a Friend. It was hosted by Lisa Ray McCoy, and I tried dating the reality way, and I'm willing to do it again.
You ready to do it again?
Yes,
Wow.
It was fun, but Big Mama's still single, so she's still looking.
The word is out.
Available for the right opportunity.
The word is out, right? The word is out. Yeah.
No, so I'm just so excited to be here with you. Like I said before, your energy, but then your knowledge and the way that you are able to reach into the heart of people and pull out what's getting at them, and then provide them an answer or a direction, if you will, on what the next step should be, so they can get to what they're both, especially in the counseling of couples, get to that common place. And I love that. And I wish more of us beautiful melanated people would seek that out within our marriage, but also within our relationships.
Yeah.
So we're here today. What we doing? What we talking about?
Listen. I know you know what you want to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about with you what you want to talk about. So just take it away and just let's get right into it. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Listen, before you go, you know, my wife and I, we just came back from Nigeria 2 weeks ago.
I heard.
We went home.
I love it. The beautiful Marlo. She is absolutely amazing. Her spirit, she's beautiful. I love it. I love the both of you. What did you guys do when you were back home?
Don't tell her that.
I'm going to tell her every time.
She might leave me. Don't tell her.
Nah, I think both of you know you have a great thing. Not a good thing, but a great thing.
Yeah, we do.
Partnership.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's do it. What you got? What you got for us today?
Well, it looks like we are talking about if there is love after divorce.
Oh. Love after divorce.
See, I've got this little thing about me. It's a caveat of who I am. I always tell people I'm a little known Black history fact. I'm the only Vassier in the United States, but if you Google it, I've had several last names because I've been married 3 times now. Okay. And so I have my own mission, 3 strikes, but still in the game of love.
Still in the game of love. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Right. So divorce does not mean that's the final, that's the end, because after all, love has never been something that man created.
Okay.
That's one of the greatest gifts we ever received from God. So despite the issues that have occurred and the situations I've navigated throughout life, I believe that love is always available. It's just, you got to love yourself first. And that's something that I'm learning in my mid-century stage and age, learning to love myself.
Now, learning to love yourself, you know, that is something that that is absolutely necessary.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't, you won't be able to set a barometer for how people need to treat you.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. So, so I think learn to love yourself. I think that's a great place to start. So,
Oh boy.
how are you doing loving yourself? You know, oh, and let me say this here. Let me say this here that you know, I really believe that that because, and you put it out there, say, listen, I've been married 3 times. That is not a barometer of who you are.
Yeah, I know.
It is not. Who you are and what you do are separate.
Absolutely.
All right. So you're saying, listen, I've been down this road, and you're asking, is it possible to find love after divorce? How was that for you? Can you talk about
Well, if I may backtrack for a moment. So, going back to the topic of loving oneself, I'm probably loving myself best now than I ever had before. Early in life, I didn't have the best demonstration of what love was supposed to be. I come from an abusive home life. And so I was taken from my mother at 2 years old by my father and raised in his care until I was 12. In his care, he was an abusive, functioning alcoholic. And so when I was finally removed from his care at 12, I was reintroduced to my mother. And shortly thereafter, I was in foster care at 14.
it? Ooh, okay.
So all I knew was to be moved around and fight or flight was what I lived off of because I really didn't know what love was. All I knew is when the waters got troubled, it was time to shift. Either I was being moved by someone else, and for a long time in my life, I felt as though that was the case. I was always being moved by someone else. The Department of Social Services in Cleveland, Ohio, child care in Charleston, South Carolina, which is where I was reintroduced to my mother. And then even then, I emancipated myself from the state because I became a ward of the state of South Carolina. I emancipated myself from the state at 18 because though my mother and my relationship was tumultuous, she had become ill to some degree, and I have a younger sister. And so at 18, my mindset was I was never allowed to be a child. So I've always had adult thought
Mm,
process toward certain things in life. So at 18, I'm like, I'm old enough to work. I'll go ahead and move there. And then my sister wouldn't have to be so responsible at such a young age, at 12 years
mhm.
old. And been on my own off and on since I was 18. And so my first marriage was someone that I met, ironically, on a blind date when I was 17 years old. So that was funny all in itself because I had to be hooked up on a blind date in high school because none of the boys would date me because I was too adult.
Ooh, really?
So I didn't develop at a normal pace in the dating realm as a teenager. And my first real solid boyfriend was in college.
Okay.
He would eventually become my first husband. But again, another place to backtrack. We got married in my mid 20s, and I never understood what it was to have a family. I'd never seen a successful relationship between a man and a woman in the Black community, short of the Cosby Show.
Mm,
That's the only demonstration I had. And then there was his family. He was when we met. He was 20 years old. His mother was having her second child. She was in her 40s. And so his parents have been married for a number of years. So I got a chance to see that dynamic a little bit. But
mhm.
my world had never consisted of what love was supposed to be. So even when I saw that dynamic, it was like foreign food. I didn't know whether to eat it with a chopstick or fork or what. I didn't
Ooh,
know what to do with that.
mhm,
Right. And so I carried that for a very, very long time. I knew that that man did love me. I was unable to reciprocate, which ended up being the demise of my marriage. I was unable to reciprocate love that this man had shown me because I had never seen it before. And it was so foreign to me. By the
mhm,
time I became his wife, I had already been through so much life and having to duke it out with life on my own. You couldn't tell me anything.
mhm, mhm.
Very willful. And I had no idea who I was spiritually.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to save you the longest parts of the story, but my issues with relationships, even into marriage, is I always found myself committing more to that person, and that I thought that in order for me to be loved the way that I desired, I had to be of service. I had to have a place in that person's life. I had to have a reason to be there,
Mhm.
regardless of whether that reason was they just saw a pretty girl and wanted a pretty girl on their arm. They thought that I was going to be somebody that they could mold. I've been very willful for a very long time. You're not
Mm.
just going to tell me anything at different stages of my life. But the one thing that I did know, I found out in my 30s, and that was I'm a child of God. No one had ever instilled that in me.
Okay.
No one had
Listen,
ever said time.
okay, let me ask something because I want to catch this before we move through because I think that there's just so much to this. Taken from your mother.
Yeah.
See, I still got it right here. At that young age, robbed of your capacity to bond with and develop the maternal child relationship and all that comes with it, the capacity for you to feel that kind of a un that kind of love that you needed. It was unsolicited love,
Yeah.
because listen, before you realized that you loved your mother, you were loving her because of the way she treated you and how you felt. You didn't have to ask nothing. You didn't have to do nothing to love your mother. Just had to be the recipient of that. And so I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts are, as opposed, in terms of, do you think that the separation from your mom at such an early age had anything to do with your capacity to connect with people and feel safe and develop trust?
Hmm. So I'm challenged with that primarily because
Okay.
my mom was part of a cycle.
Okay.
So when my mother and my father met, my mother was a stripper in a gentleman's club. She
Okay.
was a runaway from home. My father was older than she was. So even in her idea of what love was, that was already tainted before my father and my mother became a pair. And then that would continue because he was abusive toward her as well. I don't think my mother had the capacity,
Okay.
even though she did love my sister and I, my older sister and I, and she took us. She was with my father, got into a physical altercation, left him for dead, and took my sister and I with her when she ran away from him. He found us and then kidnapped us back. So, with all that being said, I don't think she had the capacity to show us the type of love that would have developed for me in such a way, the loving manner. I don't know if she had that capacity back then. I have a younger sister that my mother had with another gentleman, and she's one of the strongest women I know. That's not to say she didn't have a tumultuous life with my mother, but she loves differently than I do
Hmm.
because of the experience she had with my mom, which was
She
better than my
lived
experience.
differently from you. She loved differently because she
Correct.
lived
Correct.
differently from you. Okay. Yeah.
Correct. She had a different experience with my mother than I did. Although I was 12 years old when my mother and I reunited, again, I was in foster care by 14, so there wasn't enough time to bond there. So do I think that I missed something in our relationship? There were some women along the way that showed me love and kindness. Even my first husband's mother was one of those women
Okay.
that spoke to me. So I did miss the bond specifically with my mom because I felt my mother was an enemy for many, many lives, many, many years in my life. Um, we just did not connect well.
What made you think that she was an enemy, though? If because you didn't connect. Yeah. What made you think?
Yeah, there's definitely some trauma there that she never dealt with.
Okay.
She was
Gotcha.
constantly running, and so her response to um, indifferences was to cuss you out in such a way. that it was very damaging. I knew that that did not feel right. And so we never really met on a plane and ever had the opportunity to really communicate like mother and daughter. It was more like someone I was just familiar with quite often. I did love my mother, but it wasn't a mother-daughter type love,
Did you
if
miss
that makes
that? Did you miss that, the mother-daughter love?
sense. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have any children, so I've never been able to reciprocate that and show my way. Again, which leads into my relationship. When I say this thing about my relationship, this is separate from my first husband. My first husband was the only man that I personally know that loved me, flaws and all. I just did not know how to reciprocate that. But after that, the love that I tried to pour into other people absolutely was the love I wanted to receive from somebody.
Mhm.
But it was almost like I was proving that I was worthy of love my entire life. I don't know if that's attached to my mother or the lack of care that I had there, the lack of attachment that I had there. I just knew that I desired to be loved.
Okay. You know, this thing about maternal unavailability, a lot of people may not pay much attention to it, but it does have, you know, there's something to it when we try to understand it, because maternal unavailability, and I think you kind of you spoke to this about your mother's inability to love because of the way she grew up. Therefore, she could not pass it on to you. And in a sense, at the working level, it doesn't matter, because if you want it, you just want it. And if she was available, she was available. And a part of the reason why people become unavailable is because they of their picture of how they see themselves. And if I don't think I am worthwhile, I'm not going to get into a relationship to fail, you know. So I just don't get into a relationship like that, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think my mother was actually a very loving person. It's
yeah.
just her demonstration
Hmm.
sometimes for me was more damaging because of what I'd already experienced at the hands of my father. So
Right,
it was a double whammy for me when I was looking for someone to dote on me, to love up on me. But that's not what our relationship ended up being. I saw her like that with my younger sister, but I think because I came into her life at 12, out by 14, then again at 18, she couldn't raise me at 18.
right,
All those years that were missed, she could not speak to my life at that place because then I was a grown woman,
right, right.
right? Had
And
been living
yeah,
on my own for a while and everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's not only you being attached to her, and you hit it. It's her capacity to attach to you. And you know, sometimes some people would say, you know, that under these circumstances, she might even feel a little bit of a guilt, like, oh, just, you know, what have I done? You know, I should have been in my daughter's life. What kind of a mother am I? How, you know, what kind of a mother does she think I am? You know, so go
And I
there.
think it's more so what kind of the mother I thought she may have thought what kind of a mother I thought she was. Because
Yeah.
granted, my mother was running for her life from my father when she took my older sister and I. And
Hmm.
so she tried actually several times throughout my younger years to be involved. But I would later come to learn from her confession, and my father would either beat her and put her out in the middle of the night or rape her and put her out in the middle of the night. So she had trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma
Yeah.
on top of trauma. And she tried to love. I'm not going to sit here and say that she didn't. What I'm saying is that she didn't have the type of love that Vassier as a child needed
Right.
because I had already experienced so much. She couldn't answer to my trauma.
Right. But it
She had
speaks.
how she was carrying herself.
Yeah, but it speaks to her strength, though. Seemed like your mother had amazing
Oh
inner
yeah.
strength to be able to go through all that trauma and still find enough of herself to put out there to you and your siblings. You know what I'm saying? In whatever way she could.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to downplay and say, well, you know, she was just a crazy woman. She had
No.
strength. Yeah, she was a strong woman. So
She
so
was
that
an amazing woman.
yeah.
She
So
was
now it
an
speaks.
amazing woman.
She gifted you with that strength.
Oh boy. My mother's name is Ione Ellis. She's no longer with us, but I am Ione's daughter.
Yeah,
I didn't get it growing up in her house, but it definitely is an innate trait. I am Ione's daughter.
yeah, yeah. You
She has
are
some
okay.
strong girls.
Hmm. Yeah. And so you were talking. about the spiritual piece when you got older. How important is that to you, the spiritual piece?
It changed my life. It changed my life, but even still, up until that point, I'd always felt like, and still even afterwards, because there were some things that transpired, but up until that point, I didn't think I was capable or worthy of love.
Okay.
And I kept hearing people talking about God, and I believed in God, but I didn't know what relationship was.
Okay.
When I left my first marriage, um, I was devastated. Out of respect for him, I won't get as detailed, but I will say that I loved him so much. I thought the greatest honor would be to have a child with him. It's the only man I ever wanted to have children with. And unfortunately, the way things were working out, that did not happen. It's more of a biology issue. It didn't happen. And when it did not happen, I felt as though I had no purpose in his life. And so I left. Because again, I've already been rejected by my mother and father. That's the way
Right.
that I felt. Now here I am with a man that I love, and I'm trying to give the best that I can, but now we're not having children. He can't possibly. This is my thinking. That's not what he's ever said to me. But at that time in my life, my thinking was, I can't possibly mean anything to him if we're not having children. He's not making time for us to have children. He doesn't want me. And so again, fight or flight, I left. This man has never said this to me. He never felt that way, but at that stage of who I was in my life. So when I left, I felt so empty. And someone introduced me. I moved to Orlando, Florida, and someone introduced me to a ministry. And for the first time, I saw in real time people in the street telling people about Jesus Christ. A church that served homeless people in a way that if they didn't have a place to stay, if they would do work at the church, they could remain in the church to sleep,
Mm.
to have. I'd never seen that before. I never understood what it meant to love like Christ through demonstration. And so I started investing more of my time, and I began to learn that fasting wasn't just food. Fasting was getting away from television or anything that distracted you from growing spiritually. So I learned
Mhm.
that. I learned what it meant to speak in tongues, not because somebody told me what to say, but because I had my moment
Mhm.
when the Spirit rested on me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had no idea. And then that's when I began to feel a love like I've never felt before. And I wanted more of that. I began to study in ministry.
Mm.
And I learned so much more about myself, why I have the type of heart that I have, why I love people so much. Though at that point I had seen so much of the negative, why do I still love people so much? What's that? What's the heart of Christ? What does that look like? That doesn't mean perfection, because none of us have that to give. And I'm
Right.
not going to say I've been perfect in my practice. I never will be. I'm going to try my best. But that's when I began to realize that I was worthy of love, but I still had not grasped what type of love or how to
Mm.
acquire that, the love that I desire. I thought I had to give myself through service. Be of service, be available, just be there, just be there, just be there. Not understanding that it meant to pour back into myself, to spend time studying, to spend time putting into practice those things that I learned. It was just, is this person going to accept me? When it came to the men in my life, is this person going to accept me? I have these flaws. And Lord knows if they said yes, it was on. Because men don't approach me.
Woo.
It's the ones that did approach me. I'm on a different program now, but it's the ones that did approach me because they were bold enough to do so. They had the opportunity to an open door. And because I
Mhm.
desired love and acceptance so much, I would put up with whatever they came with. Because of course, I'm flawed too. They're flawed. There's some ways we can work around this. But that's when I began to discover love and also understand that for me, without God, there is no love. I no longer just go off of people who say, oh yeah, I'm spiritual and I believe in God. I need to see it in action. I need to see you.
Right.
How do you give? Your time, your money, your funds? What do you do? I've been involved. I've been married to gentlemen who said that they loved God, but the demonstration was different. I need that love in my life. Loving God and being active is a love language for me, and I need to see it in action.
Okay.
And so when it comes down to love and spirituality, the two go hand in hand. I won't have it any other way anymore. For me.
Right. Powerful stuff that talk about the spirituality. That is so important. And you're right. We can't measure a person's spirituality by looking at the person, because that stuff is kind of deep on the inside here. And there are moments when you will display this in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things too about spirituality, is know when to be silent as opposed to be when to speak. And that silence for me, I know when I get silent, what I'm really thinking about is I'm going around in me, asking myself all kinds of questions when I'm silent. So I can see what you're saying. I need to be able to see this. When something from you and this other person got to touch each other and come together like this. Okay. All right. So this is amazing. Listen. For those of you who are just joining us, this is my wonderful guest, Miss Vassier. She is a wonderful public person from Serrano. Yeah, she's a wonderful public person from Atlanta, Georgia. She is a public figure. She's on the radio. She's got a very powerful testimony about her life growing up. You got some of you might have missed some of that. She might go back and touch on that. I'm not sure, but she is an amazing woman moving forward. And I think one of the questions that you were asking was, can you find love after divorce?
Divorce. The big D.
The big D. The big D. Well, let me kind of drop something on you here. Divorce. We got to ask ourselves, what are we divorcing, or who are we divorcing? Because I don't know of anybody who just kind of just wake up and say, I'm going to divorce this person because of who this person is. And when we say that, it's because we don't know how to make the difference between the who of the person and the what, when, where, why, and how, or the behavior of the person, And so, in what people, end up telling me, when I raise this topic, or when they raise it, is, they give me a reason why they divorce. And the reason they give me, very often, if not all the time, in a variety of ways, has to do with the person's behavior towards them that they found, inappropriate, unappreciable, unsafe. So the issue here then that I think that you can address this however you'd like to. I'd like for you to address it. Say, well, listen, am I divorcing the person of the person, or am I divorcing the behavior of the person? What do you think about that?
I think that oftentimes that people probably think they're divorcing the person. I think we're divorcing the behavior.
Yes.
I feel like in my particular case, again, these are all exceptions to the first one. The first one doesn't count in this one. The first one was a good marriage. Let me be clear. My first husband was, I'm sorry, Dr. Kidd, I'm going to say it this way. No, I'm not going to say it this way. He was one heck of a man. He is, not was, he is. He is the perfect framework. And I shouldn't use the word perfect, but he was the greatest framework of a man manhood, and a husband that I have ever had. And I speak very highly of him to this day. And so when I have these discussions, he's always the separate part of when I discuss my divorces. Again, I just did not have what was necessary to reciprocate him. I wish the woman that I am now met a man like who he was even back then. It would be a different story. But the behaviors, safety is really important.
Right.
Safety is really important. And I felt that was compromised for me in one of my other divorces. That just sounds so funny. One of my other houses, one of my other divorces. Safety was a compromise. There were strong cultural differences, but safety was a big issue for me. And having come from a background of abuse, there are certain red flags. You get to wave that one time. There never is a second time for that to happen. And I let that flag wave one or two times, and that was it for me. So there was nothing left for me to salvage. And it wasn't about that person's personality, because clearly the person, right, was what I was attracted to. There were certain things about that person, who they were as an individual, that I was attracted to, which led to marriage. But it was the behaviors thereafter.
Right.
That I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to fix this. I'm just going to go ahead and bounce. My second husband had to file by publication because I left and didn't tell him where I was going. It is what it is. Because I did not trust his behaviors. The second husband, I gave him the option of filing for divorce because he said he was unhappy. I tried counseling. He did not want to go anymore. His thought process was that the counselor was against him. And he didn't want to continue going. I tried. But there were certain behaviors that were developing that I know for me were triggers. And this is going to probably the first time I'm going to say this publicly. When I finally left my home, my house, is because the behavior had become challenging to me, so much so that I actually went and bought a piece so that I could have peace. And when I realized that I had gotten to that place in my life, I left the house because there was something about the way he was behaving, whether he knew it or not, that was a trigger for me. So I had to leave my own home because behaviors became unpredictable to me. And so behaviors is the answers to your question.
Yeah, listen, and I thank you for that. I thank you so much for that answer, because that is the answer. Because they will tell you, listen, when they begin to give you reasons why they leave, okay, you know we're talking about the behavior of the person. So now it comes down to this question: can you find love after divorce? You know, and people can find love after divorce because you divorce the behavior of the person, which challenges your own capacity to take care of yourself. It does not challenge your behavior in terms your picture in terms of who am I? Who is this person? And because of your view of yourself, you're going to say, I can't stay here because of this, because of what's going on here. And so as you speak about your first husband, okay, it's clear to me that, you know, that you thought and still think so highly of the person that even though the divorce happened because of the what, when, where, why, and how, okay, but your appreciation for who he was and is as that person is still pretty much intact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have the highest regard for him. Yeah. Of any man on this planet that I've come in contact with in the romantic sense, the romantic space, I have the highest regard for him. Now, respectfully, he is since married. He has a child. That's respectfully. I don't mean that to be in any way disrespectful. I just have a high thought process toward him and such a profound respect for him, because if no one had ever shown me, I'm 50. I'm hopeful for about 35 more years. So in the next 35 years, if no one ever demonstrates that type of love to me and
Mm-hmm.
for me because I can identify it. I know what that looks like. I could at least leave here saying I've known it once.
You've known it one, and it was satisfying. Listen, Vassier. Let me take this. Let me take this question. If you're only divorcing the behavior of a person, why is it necessary to leave the physical person?
That's a good question. Thanks, Ellen.
How would you respond to that? Let's play with that for a minute.
Well, I think that it's probably based off of the individual, right? Especially when it comes to divorce. When you're divorcing a behavior, is it that for me, I can't build a question out of this. For me, it was because I did not see where this person could change that behavior because it was part of them. It was part of them, and it wasn't something I was willing to stick around. We need to physically be separated because I know that with this behavior that you don't recognize is an issue, I'm putting myself at risk.
Right.
So I had to leave physically. Gotta go.
Okay. Yeah, of course you got to go. Why is it necessary to leave the physical person? Because you said it. Safety becomes an issue.
Mhm.
Safety becomes an issue. And when a behavior is repeated, in various forms,
Mhm.
at various times, under various conditions, okay, when your safety is compromised, okay, then it makes it necessary to have to leave an environment that compromises your well-being. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't take the good part of the who-ness of the person with you when you're gone. And you might even feel like, listen, I wish this person did not behave this way because I still love this part of the person of who he is. So yeah, it's absolutely necessary to leave that physical space, that environment sometimes just because of safety issues.
Absolutely.
And you can take the person with you, and then when you do that, sometimes you can get angry and say, man, listen, I love this part of this man. I wish I still had this part of this man, but I couldn't stay because he acted out this way. You understand what I'm saying?
Listen, I love milkshakes, but it don't love me back. It don't do my system no justice. So I will partake in a milkshake, but I know eventually it's not going to be good for my body. And the
Right.
result of that is not a pleasant result. So I have to make the decision. Am I going to stay in this relationship when I'm using milkshakes? Am I going to stay in a relationship with this milkshake? Or am I going to start drinking water because that's better for my body? When it comes down to safety, we're not just talking about physical safety. We're talking about mental, spiritual, emotional, all of that.
Absolutely.
So important.
Absolutely. We're talking about systemic kind of a safety, which is a kind of a global approach to the self. And so I think that one of the good things is that most people under all rational conditions act in the best interest of the self. And so therefore for you, and you said, you said when you went out and got your friend, or you got your little friend, old Smith and Wesson, they just seem to always hang out together, old Smith and Wesson. What's wrong with them? Are they twins or something like that? They just kind of live all over the place, But when you get to that place, when you get I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's the pettiest moment I have ever had in my life because it was so bad that I went on ahead and I named my new little friend after his little friend. So, if he can sleep with her, I can sleep with her too. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. But on a serious note though, even it's kind of funny, isn't it? We become attracted to people and the way they are, they look. We become attracted to all of the visual and auditory and tactile stimulus up front, what you can see, what you can touch, what you can feel, what you can hear. We become attracted to that, okay? But somewhere down the line, love does not fall in love with that. Love falls in love with the piece that you can't see, but you can only experience that.
Yeah.
And that's what you miss deeply because you know it you can't take it away. And sometimes people ask themselves, what is it about me that's making me feel this way about this person? Have you been down that road? Ask yourself that question.
That's really where I am now, because I realized I was doing the wounded paw syndrome thing.
Okay.
And so I really am heavy on myself now about, why am I attracted to this person? What's the real tea with me? Why am I attracted to this person? And now I have a checklist. And when I say a checklist, it's not like, oh, everybody's got to check these little small boxes. No, that's not it. It's checklist for myself to keep myself in order. You know, am I leaning into the sob story? Is it I can't remember the term, but it's something where you have trauma bonding. Is that what it is? Like, I'm making sure that I'm not doing that stuff again. You know, well, I've got a story to tell and I've been through something. So someone's hurt. Maybe I can help them with, I'm not trying to be the answer to anyone else's trauma anymore. I realize that, yeah, there are things that we find ourselves attracted to. And we grow to care for or love that person based off of those things, but those things may not be foundation. It's rocky. And so, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And
check ourselves.
Vassier, finding love after divorce, it can also come down to what part of me, where do I feel this abuse that I'm trying to get away from? Okay. And was it primarily at the physical level? And if it is, that may be a lot easier sometimes, okay, to overcome. But when it's at the emotional level, because then if you have not been so damaged at the emotional level, there is enough of you left inside of you to find love again. You can find love again, whereby you don't measure everybody by the behavior of one person.
Absolutely. Nobody should have to pay the price for the crime they did not commit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that there is this love after divorce. And so because I think I'm not saying everybody should just go out and get, start divorcing just to find themselves. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that. Okay. But let's just put it like this. Every time you meet a new person, whoever that person is, whether it's on the street driving your car, at the mall, wherever it is, every time you meet a new person at whatever level you meet this new person, there is the capacity for this merger between you and another person to introduce you to a different part of yourself.
Yeah.
And so what happens here, I'm thinking that whatever happened, however you experience yourself in the first marriage, I'm pretty sure you did not experience that in the second or the third marriage.
The second marriage, I think there was still a little residual there.
Yeah.
The third marriage, no. Definitely a completely different person. However, still not allowing myself the opportunity to understand I'm worth the love that I desire. Still operating on, even into the third marriage, still operating on, if they can accept my flaws, I can accept theirs. I thought that was balanced, but that does not work for me. Again, going back to the wounded paw. No more wounded paw syndrome stuff. One of the things I think the words that's missing in is their love after divorce. I think the key word here is healthy love after divorce, because you could always find people that you can fall in love with and are attracted to and everything else, but healthy. And if you're not healthy, you're going to draw unhealthy people.
What does that mean, healthy love? Can you explain that a little bit?
When I say healthy, I mean mentally, spiritually, emotionally healthy, self-aware, doing the self-introspection, finding out where you keep failing yourself, because that was the greatest betrayal that I faced. was I betrayed myself. And that was, I betrayed myself in the sense that I kept putting everything I knew I desired in a mate aside for, it was less about who they were to me and more about what I could be for them, what I could be. There had to be a service attached for me. So I had to keep checking myself over and over and over and over again in the relationship space. More so now, is this person really supposed to be a healthy part of my life, meaning they can contribute to my emotional growth? They can speak into my life. I can trust them with my very being. Are they looking out for me? Is there security there? Is there protection there? And when I say security and protection, I'm not looking for my God to go out and fight for me. I'm looking for him to protect me mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Is he speaking words of affirmation? Are his actions consistent? Like, I would let all these things slide just as long as they said that they wanted me. That's unhealthy. It's kind of a pick me. That's really unhealthy. And at 50 years old, actually, I've been divorced for 3 years now. So at 47 years old, I finally said enough. I'm not sticking with anyone. And again, he said he was unhappy. I was willing to fight it out, duke it out. We're here. I never thought I'd be divorced again. I thought I was with my life partner, my ride or die until the end. He said that he was unhappy. Now, there are reasons why he felt that way, and I can understand that. But the greatest part of unhappiness is if you're happy with yourself.
Yeah, and I absolutely, and I like that. But I want to kind of run it back, to where, close to where we started. As a matter of fact, it was where we started. Take a look at your history just coming up, where, and I guess I'm going to use this word, if people did not make themselves available to you, okay, there was a lack of validation.
Absolutely.
A lack of validation. And when you come, as you grow older, there is there is a need. By the time you get into to be a young woman, there are all kind of biological things, psychological things, emotional things kind of just bubbling up inside of you, which is God-given. It's just there. Okay. It's not like you're some crazy woman running around. It is just there. Okay. And so the lack of validation at the earlier age does not set the stage for you to feel that you can be good enough just as you are. Right?
Absolutely.
And so what you do then is you begin to act out in a way that you think, in other words, it's almost like you go fishing, you load your bait, all the kind of stuff, and you throw it here and there and everywhere, and you're just hoping for a bite, and whoever bites, you bring them in, and then you begin to take, not to take care of yourself in order to, almost like you need to impress people into your life so that they can like you the way you want to be liked and or loved. Am I going down the right road here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like you're always doing a constant song and dance.
Yeah.
So that someone would buy a ticket to your show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, you hit the nose. You hit it right on the nose for me. I mean, you can imagine most of my many, many moons in my life, I felt like I was aborted after I was born. Like, just not considered. That it was just a sprinkle of care to give to me, even being in foster care. And I had a great foster mother. My final foster mother was a great foster mother as far as some of the things that she introduced me to. And it wasn't until I was in that environment that I understood that life could be different than what I had been shown before. My foster mother was a caterer to the upper echelon of Charleston, South Carolina. So from 14 to 18, I was from 14 to 18, I was in her care, and I got a chance to see different things because she worked in the mansions in Charleston and, the big homes and things like that. We got a chance to go there with her and babysit. But at some point, a switch was flipped on. It was just like, so you don't necessarily have to carry all the baggage that you had seen before. Like, I mean, let's be real. growing up in the projects and in the hood quite often in Cleveland, Ohio, when I was with my dad and being moved from pillow to post a lot, that was the first opportunity I had to see a real home life for some people and something that was actually tangible. And so even though I had that thought process in my mind, now my next thought was, if I'm going to have a mate, I want somebody that looks like they can have the opportunity for something like this. And how are they going to pick me? Because I come with all these flaws.
That's
I
an
come from this
interesting
broken
word. Pick me. How are they going to pick me?
pick me.
Oh, pick me, pick me, pick me.
How are they
Listen,
going to pick me?
start to behave in a way so that they can pick you.
Yeah.
So in other words, they're not going to choose you because of they're going to pick you because of your song and your dance.
Right.
You're going to get on stage for these people. Well, you get on stage for these people, guess what? You're going to have to stay on stage for the rest of your life because that's what drew them to you.
Right. And understand, my show was, she said, "Are you dating just being nosy?" If they can pass the test. All right, Keisha. Are you dating just being nosy?
Yeah, Keisha, stop being nosy with it.
You can be nosy, girl. I don't mind. So I'm going to answer that question for Keisha.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm also going to get back to you. So my show was, I can help. What's that? You're hurt in this area. I can help. Let me show you how I can help. I'm trying to be respectful of people's issues. So I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. What's that? You're of a different culture and you're insecure as a man. Well, don't worry about that. I can help you with that. What's that? You had a church hurt from your past family issues and you feel rejected by the church. I can help you with that. So it's just, I'm always trying to, or was always trying to find a place that I fit in where I can help somebody. Because if I can help you, then I have a place in your life.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. But as far as dating is concerned, I do feel as though, Ellen and Keisha, that I have healed quite a bit over the past 3 years because I am more like Vassier than I've ever been in my life. When I say more like Vassier, I know who I am. I don't do the table conversation. I know what I bring to the table. People can have that conversation. I don't do that conversation because it's not about what I can bring to the table. I'm not on that. I know who I am. I know who God has made me. I know who he's spoken to me to be. And so when it comes to healing, I'm looking for someone that everybody has something they're dealing with, right? Mm-hmm. But I want someone in my life that has the mindset to deal with their issues, seek counseling, have been in counseling, is not afraid to go to counseling, speak to me as their partner and have those conversations with me. They have a place to rest with me and know that, but they have to earn that place, right? They have to earn that opportunity with me. You show me that through consistency. There are a number of things that I would prefer to have in my life regarding my mate. So even when it comes to dating, I date with intention. I don't, and which is probably why I'm a serial monogamist. I'm not dating 10,000 people. I know people are like, just date all of them. And then until somebody makes their intentions clear. I don't operate like that because I personally value my space, my time, and above all things, my peace. Yes. And I don't have enough of that to share with too many people. So I'm not going to allow everybody in my space. But yes, if I find someone, well, not find, but if I'm in the presence of someone, and I think that maybe we can vibe, that we're in the same place of understanding as far as our spiritual practice is concerned. I believe in God. I know people call him different names because after all, the disciples went out into many lands and all those names aren't going to be the same. But I believe in God. People say they're spiritual. I am spiritual, but demons are spirits too. So you got to be clear on that one with me. It's important to have someone in my life that's active in the community because I need to see that, somebody that is selfless. So yes, Keisha, if he comes across my path, now there are a number of gentlemen that I find very attractive.
Yeah.
But I learned something from a very good friend named Sharima, and she said that she hires slow and fires quick. So If I find after a certain amount of time that you are not consistent, that your word does not line up, I'm okay with that. I clearly am not your choice. And I'm okay with that. I don't know why people can't be upfront. I dismiss myself and I have that conversation with that gentleman. Listen, here's what my expectations are. Now, you either don't want to meet my expectations or you don't know how. And I understand that. Perhaps we're not a fit for one another. That does not make them a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. We're just not a fit, respectfully. And I move on that real quick, because you only have, it's not like I give somebody 90 days or something like that, but you only have a certain amount of time to tell me the same thing over and over, and you don't follow up on your actions. I'm really big on that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I am dating Keisha when it becomes available. And Ellen, yes, I do feel as though I'm healed in a number of areas, but like everybody else, I still have places of growth to commit to, and I'm doing that. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm a very warm and loving person. I love the idea of partnership. I think what people's foundational preferences are, what's important to them, I think they get that mixed up with, oh, he got to be this tall and he got to be this fine and this fly. Yes, I want somebody that matches my fly, but I want somebody that matches me spiritually, emotionally, physically is the last choice. I do have my preference, but man, bro, if you're a good brother and you match my fly, high in the system.
Help a sister out. Oh man, listen, thank you for sharing so openly, Ellen. You've been a blessing and an inspiration. Yes, yes. And, Vassier, listen. I don't want to take any more of your time because you're going to start waving on dollar bills in front of me like this.
Not at all. I love this. Listen, Dr. Kid, I'm hopeful that opportunities like this, that I get a chance to be more transparent, that it leads to more speaking engagements for me, because that is what I really want to do. That is my passion, to get more so into public speaking. I enjoy radio, but it's just a conduit for the ultimate goal. It has to be purpose driven for me. And I'm open to those opportunities now. Yes, I work corporately and I got so many different hustles going on, but I'm trying to get into speaking.
Listen. I know you will do, excellent. I'm using some bad English now. Excellently well. How about
It's okay.
Listen, because one of the things about public speaking too, it's not just what is said, it's the personality that comes with how it's said. And you have this great personality, I think people will come just to see you. Don't matter what you're saying. I'm kind of see that. Yeah.
As long as they're paying, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go. I just got to say this here though, because it kind of came up a number of times, and while we're talking here this evening, it said that the things that you do, you're helping people. And the word that comes to me is kind of a clinical term, it's the rescuer. It's almost like a rescuer in you. And sometimes, inadvertently, unknowing, in rescuing people, we get an opportunity to rescue the piece of ourselves that nobody else has ever tried to rescue.
Yeah.
And so you find that in somebody else. And when you rescue it over there, it gives you validation over here.
Yeah.
Is that making sense to you?
That totally makes sense, but it's unhealthy.
Well, you know why? It's unhealthy. Why? Because a person who goes out rescuing people, they create a dependency.
Yes, and then they also often, and I'm guilty of this, don't take care of themselves.
Absolutely, because and the dependency is you want somebody else to take care of you, so you behave in a way where people become dependent on you. And when they become dependent on you, your value goes up, but then you have this mutual dependency on them. And this is where you could get hurt.
Yep. And you get disappointed. And because you've built, even though you're the rescuer, you're not doing it in a balanced way.
Right.
You're doing it because you need something in return, right? You're not doing it with a pure heart or pure intention. Now, you don't know this sometimes.
Right.
You just want somebody to be able to look at you and say, you know what? I appreciate you. I think,
There
and
you
that makes
go.
you feel good. I appreciate you. I love you. I'll never leave you. That's what you're wanting sometimes in those situations. And it's so unhealthy because at the end of the day, these people don't reciprocate. Now you're getting more distant. They don't love me. Depression sets in. It's something that I'm facing head on right now. Depression. I was diagnosed with depression back in the early it was 1998, somewhere around that time. And I refused to accept it. I refused to accept it. And I would just battle it out and thug it out. And, knowing that I had these emotions and I had these feelings and I was hurting and everything. And now as I'm getting older, and of course you're going through things with your body as a woman, I've had no children, but I've had 2 surgeries for fibroids and things of that nature. The first time I ever got cut, and I now have this is telling a lot, and I'm a very transparent person. I now have a cut that's like a C-section. I never gave birth, but that's what was necessary in order to remove the fibroids from my body. And at 50 years old, I'm looking at myself like these things are supposed to happen younger in my life. My body's not bouncing back the way I would expect it to. And these things mess with your mind. Hi, Camellia.
Camille's on board.
They're messing with my mind. And then you're like, okay, as a woman, and Dr. Kidd, you might not be able to identify with this, but as a woman,
I thought, come on now.
that's start beating you down to some degree. And am I still valuable to a man? They have this, what is a high value man they calling people now? Am I what a high value man is looking for? Well, guess what? With all my flaws and the weight gain and all my thoughts, I need to keep myself in check to understand that first, I'm valuable to me, and I need to do whatever is necessary to keep my mental,
Absolutely.
my emotional, my spiritual together.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as a high value man is concerned, everything that I am, I got to make sure I'm taken care of first. If he's going to come to me, he needs to know that I'm high value too.
Right.
And I know that, not because I'm connected to him, but because of who I am.
Yeah. Right. And the high value, listen, if high valued men, they come looking at the what about you. What is it about her? But coming to know the who takes time.
Absolutely.
And you cannot allow the what of a person to stand in the way of you getting to know the who, because you get to know the what of a person in the hustle and the bustle. You get to know the who of a person when it's still and it's quiet. And it's you understand what I'm saying? And you're by yourself and you're contemplating about this person and you're with this person and you really talk this stuff through, That's how you get to know the who of a person. It's amazing. So, high value guys, they're looking for a trophy person, that's what it is.
That ain't me. They find that out real quick. Because just as much as you want to be stimulated because you find a pretty girl to put in your arm, I need you to understand that I can command a room. From the moment I walk in, I realize that I'm an atmosphere changer. It took me a long time to get that, but I am. And it's not because I'm putting forth an effort to be so. I am whoever God designated me to be. And I receive every bit of that. I'm not arrogant by no stretch of the imagination. I just come to terms with who I am. So
who you are.
I'm going to walk in a room and heads are going to turn. And I always say this, I hope that it's the spirit within me reflecting outward, because this goes away. It goes away with age. I'm not responsible for this. This is genetics.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for the upkeep. Yes. But I had nothing to say about any of this.
Oh, Victoria's Secret, my favorite.
Listen, I have everything to say about what's in here. So even though it's a hard place for me, just like whatever you put in your body's going to reflect it. Whatever you put in your spirit's going to reflect it. So yeah, I'm not arm candy. You're going to be affected when I'm in the room. And I'm so thankful, God. I can finally say with 100% confidence, I'm so thankful that God has made me the way that he has. It took me a long time to understand that I'm not for the faint of heart. I am
Listen.
not, because I am challenging. And when I say I'm challenging, not combative, challenging. I can't have a man in my presence that wants to sit and wallow in self-pity.
But challenges give you an opportunity to grow, though.
Exactly. I can look at a man and see his faults as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he has to want to grow himself.
Yes.
He has to make the steps. And I am the type of woman where I'm going to go, well, baby, if that's what you want to do, we can do this thing together.
Together.
But I can't do it for you. You have to take the first steps. And also, I have to be able to trust your leadership that you can guide me to help keep you pushed in the trajectory you're trying to go.
Right.
So if you're just looking for someone that's gonna be pretty and that ain't me, boo. It's just not me.
Yeah. Listen.
I want some pretty on my arm too, but he got to be smart.
Come on now.
He got to be smart.
Yeah, come on now. Listen. Thanks for sharing. Oh, Baha says, hey, awesome shake up. Great info as always. Listen. Let me just say this. Let me just say this as I close out, and I'll give you the last word. You said something that really meant, made me think. And I want to kind of just run it back at you. You said when you come in the room, it's because you said, because I am. And it made me think about when Moses, when Moses said to God, they might not believe me. Who shall I tell them sent me? And what did God say? I am that I am. And it's that amness. That's that part of you that nobody can see, nobody can touch. It is not available to anyone unless you allow people to get to the level of your I am. And it's your I am that makes you, when you walk into that room, heads start to turn, people start to sit up, people start looking and go, yeah, we're in for something right now. Anyway, Vassier, I want you to have the last word, however the last word comes out. And then listen, and I just want to thank you. Go ahead and have the last word.
So yes, you can find love after divorce.
Yes, you can. You proved it.
Question, but the first place to start is within yourself. Love up on yourself, whether you be man or woman. You be human. All of a sudden, my cat wants to chime in. You human, whatever you identify as, you gotta love yourself. Yeah. And sometimes that takes that ugly look in the mirror to understand those things about you that you don't even like. You can't expect anybody else to like them. Take the time to love up on yourself first before getting involved. And then that way you know what is and what is not for you. And you feel confident in saying yes or no to open a door. I'm mindful about who crosses my threshold, the threshold of my life, and actually my front door. Really important to me because I do have peace, because I've done the work and I'm still doing the work to be a better Vassier, so that when the right partnership comes along, just like any other partnership, it is a business deal. We are agreeing that we're going to take whatever it is that you have to bring and whatever it is that I have to bring, flaws and all, and we're going to make this thing work. Right. When that person comes along, I want them to be able to say, you know what? That's my partner right there. That's and you should feel the same way about yourself. Lastly, Black Men's Mental Health Conference is in Atlanta, July 20th. Now, technically, we're sold out. However, let a sister know if you got a man that wants to or needs to attend and will be in attendance. Hit me up on Instagram at Vassier_Serrano. So we make sure that we can get maybe one or two more up in there. But I want to make sure the men, our Black men, get the message. There's never a set message. As you well know, Dr. Kit, it's a transformative environment. It is open. It is transparent. And it's an opportunity to hear our Black men in a way that some of us never get a chance to. And them having the opportunity to speak without a woman telling them, no, that ain't what men want. Because we do that on these.
Maybe it's women like you that make us Black men don't want to talk so much. What you want? Come on now.
We got to be sensitive to what their needs are. A lot of men have been told growing up that a man is not supposed to cry. It's like men aren't supposed to be human. they are human just like we are. And our Black men deal with so much. So the Black Men's Mental Health Conference, Just Us MH Foundation. You can find out more at bmmhc.com. I'm serving as your moderator. Hopefully I'll do it again that next year. And you can listen to me Saturday and Sunday from 10 until 3 Eastern on myclassixatl.com. That's Classix 1029.
Listen, thank you so much, Vassier Serrano. It was my pleasure meeting you in Atlanta, in Birmingham, at the Black Men's Mental Health Conference. It's my pleasure to have you on with us this evening. And I know we got to get you back, especially since you're moderating. What I'd like for you to do is to come back and tell us about the Black Men's Mental Health Conference that went down in Atlanta. Can you do it?
Let's do it.
All right, yeah, let's do that because I, and we need to put a flyer out there, get some more Black men, especially when you're coming back to talk about that. Because I know the one in Birmingham, I got to be careful because I was there, But
it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Shortly thereafter, we did another one in Mississippi. That was impactful and powerful. It just is awesome. There's another one in Houston. I'm not the moderator for that one, but there's another one. And also, yes, Black Men's Mental Health Conference, bmmhc.com. We can only come to a city if we have financial support. So we need to be sent for so that we can affect our community in a positive way. So it is it is the Just Us MH Foundation. We do need sponsors. We want to be able to take this globally if we can. So if anybody out there listening knows an opportunity, a real opportunity to get this done, send for us.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Vassier.
Thank you
so much. And there you have it, good folks.
Yeah.
Great Vassier, radio announcer, Atlanta, Georgia. And you know what? She lives by this. Where my thing at? I got to try to get this thing out. Yeah, she lives by this. It says, hey, listen, she has no fear of failure. Oops, there you go. The fear of failure is the enemy of success. She said, listen, I'm not going to be beaten down. And so you can go this way. The fear of failure, enemy of success. So do that. This is going to be on the store, on my website. You can get that and other things at drkidsspeaks.com/shop. Okay, and use a Shake Up code 37 if you want to get 37% off. That's on there for a limited time offer. So we don't know what limited means. They didn't tell me. Okay, I'm just here to tell you what they told me. So get on it before you have to pay full price, 37% off. Come on now, that's almost 50%. That's good for me. Want it badly enough. The fear of failure, enemy of success. You wear that, people start looking at you like, say, hey, listen. That makes sense to me. I need to internalize that and get me one of those and wear it, not just so I can wear it on the outside, but I can wear it on my inside right here too. Okay, so thank you much. Listen, we want you to share, like, follow, share, subscribe. Like, follow, share, subscribe. You do that every week or after every show or even during the show. We will continue to grow. Okay, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to become to be considered as a participant in one of our future shows, please email at drkidspeaks@gmail.com, and our team will be sure to get in touch with you. You can be on or off camera. We just want you because you got some stuff here that we need to hear, and you're the only one who can put it out. Okay, so be good. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Stay cool. If you're in the heat, get out the water. If you're being flooded, whatever it is you need to do it so that you can be viable. All right. So we'll see you next week. Take care. May God bless you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.